What is up, guys? Thank you for joining. Today we are talking about the DJI Ronin-S. So I've gotten to know my Ronin-S over the last 4 months, and we're going to start off with the negatives. The first thing that I think most of you are going to expect me to say is the weight. Everyone complains about this being a really heavy piece of equipment, and they're kind of right, but in having to wield this thing for hours at a time, it really reminded me that I just needed to get back into the gym and then it wouldn't feel so heavy. But seriously though, if you're carrying it for a few hours, you will definitely notice some bicep pump. You'll definitely be tired. When you keep it fully assembled, it is a little awkward to kind of find a place to put it. Some people kind of strap it to their bags. Obviously it has tripod feet, so if you're just kind of hanging out, it's really easy to just pop out the feet and put it down on the ground. So far in my use, I've had the tripod feet on all the time. It's really useful to have the kind of that second hand grip space, as well as to be able to put it down. So that's the first thing I don't like. The second, but it's actually not that bad. The second thing I don't like is the accessory cable tax for Sony users. This little USB micro cable was an extra $20 plus something like $10 shipping because it wasn't available when the Ronin first came out. This is the only way to get the record button to remotely trigger your camera without having to reach up and mess with the controls. That was sold separately, even though there are multiple cables included with the Ronin. Also micro USB cables, but not ones that are Sony compatible. That should have been something just sent out to Sony users. The third thing that I don't like is that the focus control doesn't work with any Sony cameras. I know it does have some functionality on the A6500 or like A6000 cameras with the powered lenses. You can actually control zoom with it, which is nice, but those aren't lenses you would be using on any of the A7 series. That's something to dislike. So I actually went ahead and just removed it and replaced it with a quarter-threaded plate to cover up that port. Links in the description below. That is actually how I mount my Ninja 5 onto the Ronin. That really covers my dislikes with the thing. I have really enjoyed using this over the past 4 months. I've done real estate shoots. I traveled to Iceland with it. In traveling with it, that really brings out the number one thing that I love about this stabilizer system is how portable it is. You can break this thing down in a matter of seconds. Make sure it's off first. Camera. Got the lock. Boom, this thing's up. You can loosen these up and make it fit nice and snug. I won't because I want to balance it again. Got your battery grip and your tripod. And just like that, this thing breaks down small enough to fit into my Peak Design Messenger bag, even my my Ona Union Street bag, which is really tiny, and I only ever used it for micro Four Thirds cameras. So this thing is extremely portable, and the main comparison there is to the Zhiyun Crane 2, which I had for a week or two before returning it for the Ronin. I think the Crane 2 is a very competent system, but the thing doesn't break down. It's always this long. So if you're packing it into a carry-on or something, it's running diagonal it's screwing up your packing system. It's really difficult to travel with. I try to keep my baggage to a minimum though, and this is easy. I just wrap it up in a couple t-shirts, put it in my carry-on, and it's been working great. And the reverse of that is it sets up very quickly. Boom, 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 and there it is. If you don't mess with any of the levers, you don't have to balance it in between fiddling with it. The only way you would have to rebalance it is if you're swapping lenses or something like that. It's way better than having to screw directly into the plate or use the DJI provided riser. So the next thing I would say that is my favorite feature is that it is just very well built. I really appreciate kind of like the tactile sensations of a well-built product. I like having solid aluminum, you know, nice metal finishes. If you watch my Atomos Ninja 5 review, it's a very similar thing to the sleek black aluminum case of that. Same thing applies here. All the arms are nice, and the tripod feet are also very well machined. That was something I didn't like about the Crane. Some people complain about the tripod feet being a little weak. With that solid feel, the grip is actually what really did it in my choosing the Ronin over the Crane. This has a really well-defined grip as opposed to the Crane, which has just a round shaft setup, which in just the week I had it in the minimal use, gripping the thing would actually cause your forearms to fatigue, or my forearms to fatigue pretty quickly. So that was something that was pretty much a non-starter with the Crane 2. So kind of a weird thing. I neither like it nor dislike it. You do have to have the gimbal head attached to the battery in order to charge it. USB-C charging, this actually comes with a quick charger, which your iPhone doesn't even come with. So that is nice to have. USB-C plugs into the front. You can fully charge it in 2 hours. It lasts for 12 hours. Battery life on this thing has been spectacular. It's a 2400 milliamp hour battery, which is just slightly lower than what you find in an iPhone. I'm kind of surprised it's not a slightly bigger battery, but I have no complaints about battery life, so that has been very cool. The app system for this, let me boot this guy back up. So pairing it is super easy. You boot it up. I don't remember the exact steps, but to reconnect to it after you've paired is super easy. You just tap, it recognizes in the list devices that you've already set up. You just touch that device in the list and then it comes right up. My favorite thing is to navigate to create, capture, and just kind of sitting around and showing people how it works. You can have you can use a little joystick section on your touch screen and kind of show people how it moves around. So that's a neat little trick. I haven't gotten a chance to do many of the time-lapse features and stuff. I love that they're there. I want to do some motion lapse, time lapse stuff, but haven't gotten around to it. There's also panorama settings. So with my Sony cable attached to it, I can actually have the Ronin take pictures, I believe, with a Sony camera. I haven't tried it yet, but since I can start and stop recording, I would hope that I can set it to automatically take pictures. With this setup, I'll just throw this out there. DJI, please make a motorized slider system that I can just slot this onto. That would be awesome. I would buy that. So please, DJI, if you're listening, please make a slider that I can throw this on top of. I'm gonna go ahead and show you some sample footage with it. So that was really neat. Somebody who has very minimal experience using, video stabilization equipment can pick this up pretty quickly and get to work. That is a really great feature. This is a really user-friendly tool. Totally forgot to mention the offset roll motor. Another reason why I couldn't do the crane. This gimbal rocks. That is it for me. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like. Trying to get on top of this weekly game, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time.